So here we have our latest model of digital fire sprinkler supply flow meter, which is a DSFM2. It comes in a hard case. In the top section the flow meter lives, and then below that in the next section we have a set of hoses and also the hanging strap to hang the instrument up. It also includes a operation manual and a calibration report. So here we have our latest digital fire sprinkler flow meter, which is the GIDS FM2. Comes in a 3D printed enclosure, digital pressure indicator, stainless steel needle valves and ball valves for longevity, and stainless steel internal piping. So it's a long life instrument, much more accurate than analog type gauges. It has a calibrated range of 0 to 30 inches of mercury. However, it will read accurately to 300 inches of mercury and over range pressure of 600. And it's designed to go in conjunction with our Australian made Annubars for extreme accuracy and longevity. So some finer details on how to use our digital fire sprinkler flow meter with our Annubar elements. You'll notice on the front face that there's 3 valves. We have 2 ball valves on the high and low input side, and we also have an equalizing valve at the top, which is a needle valve. When you've connected your Annubar element up to this sprinkler flow meter, you'll open the Annubar valves, you'll establish a flow, and you'll open the equalizing valve just to make sure there's no air in the system and also to get rid of any impurities. Once you've primed the system, you'll close the equalizing valve and then you'll start to achieve a differential pressure and reading. And using the appropriate flow charts, our flow charts, you'll achieve a flow reading according to the differential pressure in inches of mercury. On the display, at the moment it's reading differential pressure at the top and temperature at the bottom. If you need to reset the 0, if it drifts slightly as it has at the moment, it's got a minus sign in front of it, press and hold both buttons until off appears. Repeat that as required, and now we're back to 0. If you press the arrow button again, you'll see that the units of measurement are inches Hg, which is inches of mercury. Press it again, you'll see a maximum value, which is 0.1 inches mercury. Press it again, minimum value since you last reset it. Now to reset your max and min, press and hold the up arrow and it's reset to 0. Press this button again, you'll have a percentage reading which is irrelevant, and then you're back to temperature. So also with our kit we have a Velcro attaching strap which goes through the 3D printed case slot at the top to hang the gauge. There's also a set of hoses that come with it, which obviously connect red and blue to HP and LP inlets. So in our range of Australian made Annubar elements, we have sizes ranging from DN25 through to DN200. These 3 sizes that we have before us, 25, 32 and 40, are for home and domestic type fire systems, small inlet size. You will notice on every element there is a serial number, a size, and also on the rear of the tags you'll notice that there's an orientation diagram to show you which way to install the element when you're doing a test. Continuing on with our range of Annubar elements, next we have the 50, 65, DN80 and DN90, and again with the flow diagram to show you which way to install the Annubar when you're about to do a test. So the last 4 sizes of Annubars that we have in our range at the moment are the large ones, which are DN100, 125, 150 and 200, again with the flow diagram on the back of the tag. The DN200 is actually built with 1/2 inch stainless steel tubing rather than 3/8 because it's got to endure much higher flow rates. So it's heavy wall 1/2 inch. So the next thing I'm going to talk about is the flow charts that are accompanying every Annubar that we sell. So with each Annubar element that we manufacture and supply, we also supply a set of applicable flow charts that go with each Annubar. So it's always important to know the type of steel pipe or copper pipe that you're testing on, because there's different wall thicknesses, ODs and IDs. We have light steel pipe, we have medium, we have Class B copper pipe, and we have Schedule 40 steel pipe. And with our DN200, we also have Schedule 10 and 20 heavy wall pipe. So always make sure that you know what pipe type you're testing on, and use the appropriate Annubar size to suit that pipe, and then using the appropriate chart, which are only applicable to our Annubars because we calibrate them and test all of them in-house. For example, with the DN50, if you had a differential pressure of 10 inches of mercury, that would equate to 823.72 litres per minute. And obviously as the flow increases, you have an increased differential pressure and therefore a higher flow rate expressed in litres per minute. So next we're going to do a live test and demonstrate how this system works and how accurate our flow meters are. Happy testing, and thank you for buying Aussie made quality. So we're at the Pycac Glenwood training facility in New South Wales, where they've allowed us to do some testing and video work on their facilities. So today what we're doing is a test on a fire sprinkler supply system. So what I've done is I've isolated the system so that there's no flow, which allows us to put our Annubar in, which is the DN50. And we've installed the hoses. The high side, which is where the flow is coming from, is the red hose, and the low side is the blue. We've connected those hoses to the digital sprinkler flow meter, and we're going to open the equalizing valve at the top of the sprinkler flow meter, and now we're going to start the water flow again. And what that equalizer valve does is it allows us to circulate water right through the system and through the hoses to get rid of any air that might be in there. So run it for maybe half a minute until all the air is expelled from the system. Then close the equalizing valve, and now you'll see the pressure value, differential pressure, start to rise. When you've reached maximum flow and your differential pressure has stabilized, record that value, and then we are going to our flow charts appropriate to this pipe size and type to determine whether the flow is adequate or not. So we've completed our test now on the fire sprinkler supply system, and you would have seen in the video when we had flow happening, our stabilized value was 15.4 inches of mercury differential. So we now use the appropriate chart for this pipe size, which is in this case medium steel, DN50 to 90. We go to the column, which is DN50. We go down to 15.4 inches of mercury differential. So therefore, the flow that we have is somewhere between 971 and 1011 litres per minute. So we make sure that that is within the tolerance of the actual system. And if we're satisfied with that, we isolate the system again so that we can remove our Annubar and our flow meter and cap the Annubar tapping point again and return it to normal operation